So just like with social skills, because we live in a narcissistic society, most people don't have it, having social skills allows you to make a lot more money and live a more dynamic life. The next one is focus. So can you train your brain to have extended focus? How do you train your brain on extended focus? What are some key things?
Meditation.
Meditation, what else?
Reading.
Reading challenging books, what else? Nutrition is massive, what else? Okay, you know what it should feel like? In the same way that if you do a bicep curl, your bicep is very, very sore by the end. At the end of a given day, your brain should feel kind of in pain the way your bicep does. It's not the exact same feeling, it's a different feeling. But your brain should feel like that. Every single day of your life, your brain should feel like you had a great workout. And this is what you'll notice as an employer, okay? I often have about 100 staff on my team. I'm looking at you in the eye, and I'm looking and seeing if you can hold focus. That's the biggest thing I'm looking at. How long can you pay attention to something? What you'll generally find is it's very, very hard to make a quality hire these days because almost nobody has focus. I'm always looking to hire 6-figure and 7-figure employees or jobs that would quickly lead to 7 figures, and I can't find them. Now, the funny thing is I say this, and then all these idiots come up to me on taking the moonshot. They're like, I'm ready for the 7 figures. They DM me. They blow up my DMs. But then what do they lack? Social skills. They go, they send me some long text about how it would help their lives if I gave them $1 million. Okay? So again, they're trapped in this narcissistic haze, no focus at all, taking these random moonshots whacked off their face. So again, next thing, extended focus. If you have social skills and extended focus, that puts you ahead of the game. Now the next one, and this is going to be the major piece that in the next 100 years is going to determine the winners and losers, is do you know the deal of what's actually going on? Okay? And you're going to have decisions to make for the duration of your lifetime, and you either know the deal or you don't. You're either one of the sheep or you're not. And you're going to have tremendous pressure put on you to be a sheep. And they're going to pressure you, okay? And they're going to leverage you. And they're going to cause inconvenience. And they're going to make it where to be a critical thinker, it is going to be a path of least resistance, and it is going to be attacked. So that's the next really big one, is you've got to know the deal, okay? You've got to understand what's actually going on. And by the way, if it's related to politics, here's my best suggestion. If you're on the left, look up the right, and if you're on the right, look up the left. First chore for anybody into politics, okay? So if you love Bernie Sanders, then you better tell me why Trump got elected, and you can't say it's because you can't say orange man bad, okay? And if you love Trump and you wonder why Bernie Sanders has a following, you can't just say he's a communist, okay? Now, literally this room right now, like half the room the whole room just got angry. So I'm kidding, but you know my point, okay? So you've got to understand the other side's point of view. And then that will begin to show you where a lot of the different agendas are coming from, what the cause of it is. And you have to understand that, okay, getting at accurate information is very hard. And the better quality the information that you can get, the better you're going to be, okay? So understand that right now, these devices are recording everything. Understand that any information meant for the mainstream, like if I'm recording this, has to be dumbed down. But understand, it's like, well, can you tell us? I can't, because these are in the room. So that's the level of dumbed down. There was a brief period from about 2008 to 2014-ish that you could talk. That ended. More incredible information during that period came out than you'd ever imagine. That's done. So the information that you're getting now is like you're drinking water with piss in it, okay? The water's got piss in it. And what that means is that everybody has their agenda, and they want to put their piss in the pot for everybody to drink. So in an information age like now with the internet, think about this, right? We're in the internet age, the information age. The big battle is over the information, because we live in a supposed democratic society. So the will of the masses is so important, and so the ability to control the masses is so important, and so as a result, the information age is everything, and you're going to be manipulated to high hell. So and the problem is, you can't just go down some weird wormhole that's like an alternative point of view, and then you think you now know everything, okay? That's not how it works either. These other alternative points of view are just as biased. You want to know what else is right sometimes? The mainstream. Sometimes the experts are right. So it's one of these things where it's really hard to know what it is that you're looking at, because you're looking at experts. But even with experts, by the way, many of the experts are also sheep, because the vast majority of people are sheep. So that means that also the experts are sheep, and only outlier experts are the ones that might be accurate. Take that on for size. Now, for a typical meat and potatoes, pragmatic kind of person, it's like, I don't want to learn all this. You don't have a choice anymore. Y'all found that out. Y'all found that out. Y'all have seen it. You've seen it with your own eyes. How quickly we forget when things go back to, quote, normal, what just happened. How quickly we forget. So be aware, you've got to begin to open your eyes and see what it is that's going on, or you are going to have things done to you that you cannot even begin to imagine. So that's another thing. So let's look at those three basic things, okay? So we've looked at social skills. Again, the narcissistic conditioning, trapping you in your mind, making it very, very hard to socialize, and now you just become spaced out. Lack of focus, okay? The food depletes focus. The social media depletes focus. The media depletes focus. The narcissistic stuff depletes focus. Can't concentrate. And then from there, not knowing the deal of what's going on. Now, let's bring this back to certain core values, okay? So let's think back a little bit, back to basic core values of what's going to make a good life. Let's begin to sort of shape what a good life is going to look like, and then let's start thinking of what core values are, okay? So let's just spitball this, okay? You guys can give your suggestions too. I'll throw out a couple ideas of what I think a good life is, okay? A good life means that you have access to high quality food and shelter. Let's just start there, okay? It means that you feel safe. You can go to bed at night, you feel safe. Likewise, you have access to really, really good quality food, okay? So what that means is that if you don't have high quality nutrients going in your brain, you can't even think straight. If you don't live in a place where you feel safe and comfortable, you can't sleep properly, that's not going to work, okay? So high quality food, high quality shelter. Let's just start there, okay? For a lot of us in the future, that probably means supplement. What's happening in the soil right now?
Losing micronutrients. It's getting stripped.
Say it louder.
It's getting stripped.
You said it.
Losing micronutrients.
Okay, everybody here know that? What's happening in the soil, right? So, y'all are just thinking like, how do I get off the McDonald's? It's not even just about getting good food, it's about getting really good food, but also supplementation. So, supplementation, what does that do when you have the right nutrients in your brain? It allows you to think. So that's important. Having great friends, having a significant other or dating life of people who you're attracted to, friends that you like to hang out with, friends that challenge you. A really big one is travel. I think if I could make one quick change, I truly, truly wish that with all this money that we spend on education publicly, that in the last year of high school, they would organize giant road trips to see the whole country. Part of the problem with living through a TV and the internet is that you don't even know what you're voting for. You don't even know what you're looking at because you've never even been to these places that you're looking at. You're casting a vote for a group of people that you've never met in a place you've never been. It's not even real to you. You're not grounded to the earth. I'd recommend to every single one of you in here to do a road trip of the whole country, if you can. Just go drive almost the entire country, and your mind will be blown. Also help you to focus. Help you with a lot of things. I'd also say a life of expansion and contribution. So you expand by giving. Why do you expand by giving? Because you identify beyond just this little me in your brain. Another one is building real skills, skills that you can monetize and get paid a lot of money for. You got to make a lot of cash in this world. Why? Things are getting more expensive. You've already seen it. And you got to know how to make cash, right? You shouldn't be afraid of a bit of inflation. Sucks for the country, but it shouldn't suck for you personally. That's not something that should be impacting you. So that's another thing, even though it sucks for the country and idiotic and perhaps intentional. Now, from there, laughter, joy, pleasure, a little bit of hedonism is another part of life. It's not all of life, but it's part of life. An authentic life. And a big one is a life that begins to give that second birth of the soul. Because you can make all the money in the world, but you don't bring that with you. So that's it as well. What does it mean to have ethics? What does it mean to have character? What does it mean, and this is a big one, to stand up for what's correct, not just standing up for what other people say is correct? You don't want to know the scary thing about people that don't feel safe? If you either don't feel safe or if you don't have a good connection to God, then your brain is typically creating, quote, truth out of what will get you approval and what will avoid blowback. So your brain is thinking, how do I get to fit in the group? How do I get safety in the group? How do I fit in the group? How do I get safety in the group? You're not thinking, is this true? Somebody who doesn't feel safe, or maybe somebody that doesn't feel safe but identifies with the soul and not the dying body, so therefore they're not afraid of death and maybe even look forward to death. Not that you're trying to die, but you're not going to give up your integrity to live a life of non-integrity. Somebody, unless you have that, you can't think of truth. Anybody that you're talking to that doesn't feel safe, you can't have a reliable conversation with them. Because they're going to pipe back what they think makes them safe. So you either A, your body has to feel safe, or B, you have to be connected to your spirit so that you still feel safe. Then you can think about what's true. Other than that, your mind won't even let you do it. Your mind won't even let you get at the steering wheel. So that's, in my view, what it means to have an authentic life. Now, I'll pass the mic around. I want to get some ideas from you guys. I'll just crack this off. What you guys think is a great life. Okay, I want to hear, I'm just spitballing. I want you guys to give some of your opinions. Okay, so just put your hands up.
Okay. I think having quality of time and location freedom gives you a great life because you get to experience different things that makes you more well-versed. And the more experienced you are, the more you can relate to people and understand things better than just being self-centered.
Great. Give me a hand, guys. Yeah. The big thing, if you had another chance, you got to go louder, okay? You got to go boom, okay, in this room, okay? All right, by the way, the low volume thing is too much thinking of you. If you think of the room, you'll go higher. Got it? Okay. All right, hop up. And merge your focus into the room itself so everybody can hear.
I think that one of the core staples of great life is having a deliberate practice and being on path to mastery, becoming better than everyone else around you and providing that value to the world.
Could I tweak it?
Sure.
Becoming your best self. Say that.
Becoming your best self.
Awesome. Give me a hand, guys. Thank you. Real loud.
I think
Got to be louder.
I think
Hey!
I think staying in abundance and learn to not care is a lot better because once if somebody receives a lot of attention, then you have to focus on other things to save people.
Good stuff. Give me a hand, guys. And louder next time, okay? Okay. Yep. When I bring you up, try to hustle up too, okay? Keep the energy moving. Thanks.
One of the things that will make a great life is once you've achieved that great life for yourself, it's perpetuating that into other people's lives and to keep the ball rolling, thus moving the ball forward for humanity as a whole.
And by the way, I'm gonna challenge you.
Okay.
I believe that, but I also believe, I'm not saying you, but I also believe that a lot of people say that as this thing that they're supposed to say. And so unless you understand why that's real, you're not gonna own it. So I'm gonna challenge you, why is that so important for you to do that?
Because if I make a good life for myself and I die, that shit's fucking gone. But if I give that to others and I teach them to do that for other people, now that's not just one person, that's now 3 people, that turns into 9 people, that turns into 81 people, to millions and millions.
And why do you resonate with that? Because some people could say, hey, I'm dead, doesn't matter to me. So why do you resonate with that?
I don't know why. When I see someone else succeed, it makes me happy. When I see, like, I'm a teacher, so when I see my little ones, and they're like, Mr. V, I got a 15 out of 15 on this test. I'm like, absolutely, you got a 15 out of 15 on that test.
Good, I love this. And by the way, let me teach you another thing, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the big things in the Bible, they talk about not just doing nice things for your friends, but even doing nice things for your enemies. Or another thing they talk about is doing charity, but doing it in a way where nobody sees you doing it. And what it says in the Sermon on the Mount, they talk about this, is that if you do charity and you let other people see it, you'll get the validation, but that's all you're gonna get. Versus when you do it anonymously, that is what links you to your higher power. Why do you think in the Bible it talks about giving anonymously or helping an enemy? What does that do? What does that actually do? And walk with me up here and share your thoughts with the group.
So when you give something to an enemy, that shows genuine care, because if you give something to an enemy, that actually gives them power over you. They can therefore turn around and destroy you with that power.
Mm-hmm. Well, you probably want to be careful what you give them. But I like your thinking, okay? Yeah. Another reason why is because is your behavior connecting you to your body, or is your behavior connecting you to your infinite soul? So if you're my enemy, you're not, but if you were, you're here to help me, but if you were, and I help you, that is confirming to me that you can't hurt me. And then what that does is that's gonna connect me to a different energetic state, okay? And in that energetic state, it would actually be pretty hard for you to hurt me, because try sometime, find somebody that really did you wrong, okay? Someone that truly did you wrong, and go help them. Just take my word for it, that the mental download that you get is something that I cannot explain in words. Go do it. Don't take it from me. I don't even want to talk about it because it's going to kill my buzz if I talk about it. Just go do it. Or when you give charity with nobody knowing. I'm going to tell you guys my personal favorite form of charity that I think is underrated, but I'm just making a suggestion. You know, everybody's the trendy thing is like give charity to the homeless, right? You know what I think is even cooler? Go give a $100 bill or whatever you can afford to a minimum wage worker that's busting their ass. How much cooler is that, in my view? Right? Because now you're helping somebody that would, like, it's in momentum and could even do something with that, right? That could really multiply, you know? Or one of my other favorites is a minimum wage worker that's miserable and super rude, and I just start handing them cash. I really, really like this. Just try it sometime. It's really, really funny. It's really, really funny. You know, because you're like, are you having a hard day? And they're like, Urgh! You're like, hey. You're having a hard day, right? I appreciate you. Are you okay? You need any more? And usually they can't, they're shocked. They're like, and then they just go, like that. They can barely even say thank you. Why? Somebody in a bad state has low gratitude. So they can't even let it land. But you don't do it for them. Now, point being is giving also wakes up a faculty in you that is otherworldly. So that's also another reason, okay? But yeah, the idea of paying it forward is very powerful. Could you guys give me a hand for that? Any other thoughts? Or?
I mean, like, kind of going off of that. Yeah. This bracelet cost me $100.
Yeah.
But that little kid in the Philippines that I gave the $100 to changed his probably like got him out of a bad situation. This is probably like 50 fucking cents.
Yeah.
But you know, that $100 that I gave to that kid meant more than like.
So then what do you feel when you do that?
it's like you can't even like say like I feel good. It like it's more than that. You feel fulfilled.
Yeah, but what does that do to your mind as far as expanding it?
You kind of get. It opens your mind to the suffering of others and kind of while the $100 that you have is and the value of different things to different people.
Louder, yeah.
Different things have value to different people. Like this is very trite and overdone, but you know, if you're in a desert, you could have a bag full of diamonds or you could have a bottle of water. But if you're in a desert, you're going to choose the bottle of water. Now, you know, $100 to me would have been a fun night in DC. But $100 to that kid is food for like months.
But let's look at let's make a the problem is until we really understand what this does, people will still resist it. Remember the things that I talked about with the following: social skills, focus, knowing the deal. The big thing that helps you with this is when your mind expands. So what you're talking about is mind expanding. So what it means is that when you do that and you get out of your own head, your social skills get better. Your voice gets louder. Your awareness becomes more expansive. It's easier to focus because now you're tapped in, and so you don't need to chase little dopamine spikes. You're also able to resonate with higher truths that people in a contracted state can't see, which makes them manipulable. More manipulable because we're all manipulable, but more manipulable. So what you're showing is something even deeper than you're aware of. And I feel like until people actually fully see what this is, they're going to resist it. But could you guys give me a hand for that? Thank you. Let's get some other ideas on a great life.
Ew.
You gotta go louder, louder.
Ew.
No, you're still to 4.
Ew.
Still to 4, louder.
Ew.
To 5 maybe. Okay, go.
Ew.
Still to 5. Okay, come on.
All right, cool. All right, so I have two. I have two I'd like to share. One you always touch on this. One is health, wealth, love, and higher purpose. Another thing I get from like watching Gary Vee or Tai Lopez or you or other gurus in any sector is gratuity, like you touched on earlier, patience, compassion, empathy, humility, and another thing like Robert Greene talks about is acceptance. Because you have to accept where you're at, you have to be grateful for where you are, because in other places of the world, it's not the same. So, you know, you have to accept where you're at and be grateful, otherwise you're going to be contracting.
Got it. And one last thing, can you guys hear him in the back? No! Say no! No! Louder!
No!
Louder!
No!
There you get it, Kay. Say it to them at the back so they can hear it.
So I was talking about...
You're not there, man. No, this is what I was saying about the giving thing. What you're doing here, you're this bright-eyed, amazing person, but you're not allowing your voice to expand. People don't get it. Your voice expanding is not just a technique. It's an awareness that you're not just you and not just caring how you look. You care that they can hear, and your voice will automatically bounce off the walls, even in this bad acoustic room.
All right, well, I was talking about...
No, this sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It 100% sucks. I was
Yell as loud as you can. Go, loud as you can.
Ew.
Do you guys see the stifling there?
Yeah. Ew.
Okay, let it ride a bit.
Ew.
Let it ride longer.
Ew.
You guys do it right now. Do it too. See, now it's getting it, okay? Now you guys do it. Okay, do it again. Okay, now talk to the group.
All right, so what I was talking about earlier...
Okay, do it again. Now, by the way, by you guys all making noise, it connects his awareness to all of you, which then makes his awareness expanded, and that's what I was saying with the thing about giving. That's the giving thing. This is why so much of religion is based in giving. It's not just social control, which it kind of looks like that, right? If you never thought of that, you're kind of dumb. You should have at least considered that. But it's actually not, even though it actually kind of looks like it, okay? In other words, dumb person is like, book says give. Okay? Mid-level intelligence person is like, wait a minute, that's social control. I'm not gonna give. That's where most society's at now. High-level thinking person looks at what we just showed here. Make the sound again. You guys go, You do it. Stop and you keep going. See what's happening? You're drawing his awareness out of his head, which is giving him more power, and he's getting more expanded awareness. That's the idea of giving. It gets you out of your head, and as you begin to identify, not just in yourself, your awareness expands. The reason why we're able to get our butts whipped right now so bad socially is because we have this limited awareness and the little me, and we're not connected to the soul, so we're in a state of fear, and so we're easily manipulated. And so we've got to start to break that, okay? And this is not going to happen overnight, but let's keep it going. Go, You got to go. You got to do better for me, man. You got to do better. Okay, do it with him. Okay, good. Now share the audience. Talk and share.
So what I was
Go as loud as you can. Physically as loud as you can.
So what I was talking about earlier was about empathy, humility, compassion, patience, and acceptance, and all as well. What was it? Empathy, compassion, humility, patience, and empathy. I've learned that from every person, from Owen to Gary Vee to Tai Lopez to anybody, Tony Robbins, talking about gratuity and giving. One of the things Tony Robbins, I think you've spoken about this, is the Thanksgiving story he had where he was broke and he had family problems.
Louder.
He was broke, their family was broke, and somebody came and gave them a turkey, and his father rejected it because he wouldn't let it land, in a sense. And when he went and gave for his first time, he said none of the millions he ever made felt as good as him.
Yeah, but what that really means, by the way, okay? You got to understand, you should be a skeptical person, okay? So when somebody tells you, I felt better to give a turkey than to make $1 million, you should be skeptical of that, okay? You should be like, I call BS. You're lying, okay? You should at least have that thought, because if you don't at least have that thought, you're gullible and naive. But then, okay, because, look, you know how this goes. Any entrepreneur that made like $1 billion, they're like, what's your secret for making $1 billion? And rather than talking about all the cutthroat things they did, you know, the burn relationships and cutthroat behavior, they're like, I learned the secret to making $1 billion is being like a good person and giving. And it's like, well, I'm a good person and giving, and I don't have $1 billion. So you're saying I'm bad? No, what they're doing is taking the focus off the truth of what they did, because the average person can't handle the truth, and they're trying to minimize friction and BS, and they're not even giving you the real advice. So that would be the point against Tony, why he could be lying. Now, because clearly Tony's about his money, guys. Because I've also heard Tony say, he does coaching with rich guys, and he's like, I do $1 million a year coaching, 3 phone calls a year, and, he does it super rich guys, a fair deal for super rich guys. And, if they go even a minute over, I just hang up. So clearly there's some dissonance there with what he's saying, right? He likes his paper. That's a good thing. Tony likes his paper. You should learn from Tony how to get paper. Go take his programs. I've taken many. They're amazing. I'm a huge fan. Now that said, if that's against that idea, what would be for that idea where Tony's telling the truth? And I do believe he's telling the truth. I'm just trying to show you how to think critically. So what is that part of the truth that he's saying? What would you say?
What I would say is basically, if you're not grateful, because you're always going to be chasing more. So if you're never grateful, you won't let it land. You won't be appreciative and accepting of where you're at. You might have $1 million and you won't be grateful because you want more. You're lacking something.
Yeah, I thought that was an amazing response. And then also let's bring it back to what I said earlier. That vocal exercise that we did, when he's trapped in his head and he's living in his head, he doesn't have expanded awareness. Right now at home, they can't tell the difference in the audio, right? You guys can tell it here, but the mic caps the volume exchange, right? So how many orders of magnitude louder am I than him when he's not yelling properly? For the people at home, how would you explain it?
Louder.
How much louder?
Like 10 times louder.
Yeah, so you're saying 10. I'll take it. I don't know if it's quite 10, but we'll go with 10. How about a trillion million? But we'll go with a trillion million. But it's louder, right? But they can't see that at home because it's going to cap it. Okay, so that's why you got to come to an event. Click the link below. But the idea, okay, don't be a spectator. Click the link and be out here. But point being is that it's that awareness. Like, again, everybody make that sound. Do it too. Stop. See what he's doing? He's getting, okay? So I'm gonna have you do it, and then you stop, and then you keep going. Allow your awareness to merge into the group, okay? Do it, the whole group. Now go, hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi there.
What up?
What up?
See, okay, now he had it, and then his brain went, the conditioning, the narcissistic, little small me conditioning, despite all his great words, went back into his head. He's like that. Okay? That's deep-rooted conditioning. What am I going to say to my sons when I'm dead? I'm dead. I can't protect them from what's coming. And there's things coming, but I can't protect them. They need to understand, to my children, the conditioning that they're under is narcissistic, attention depleting, not knowing the deal, and moving away from the powerful core values that made us who we are. Okay? That is the conditioning they're under. I'm saying this, Dylan, Vincent, Tristan, the kids I never knew about that figured out I'm their dad, and whatever future kids I may have. Okay? And literally, I'm saying this to them. You can't see me right now. You can't see me. I can see you, but you can see my video that I lecture for you. And I'm telling you right now, there's conditioning that's coming for you, and it's coming for everybody, and you need to break out of it. What you're seeing here, okay, is a simplistic, easy to understand example, okay? Because when he's in his head, he's like, right? And when he gets out of his head, he expands. That same expansion also goes for quality of thinking, okay? That same expansion goes for quality and expansiveness of thinking. So in other words, okay, here's how it kind of works. When you're in a low vibe state, you can only resonate with low vibe thoughts. So, I mean, this is kind of a sad story. I was looking at an old friend of mine on a live today, okay? Somebody that I love to death, okay? Would cut my arm off for. And I was watching it, and this person just kind of sunk into a weird headspace. And they're talking to somebody on this really big live. But there's this one person on the live that's harassing them, and my old friend keeps going back to argue with the person who's harassing them. You want to know why that is? Because when you're resonating at a low level, there could be all these different compliments and cool gratitude vibes, but all that you can tune into is the negative. And so, and my friend has got back into weed. And so it's like the weed, the low gratitude, the negativity, and so on and so forth. Now all of a sudden, lots of nice compliments, but somebody insults you, that's all that you can tune into. The mainstream is able to exploit you because if you're only able to tune into contracted thinking, it's this voodoo game right in front of your eyes. So this is when we talk about giving being the key to life and being a centerpiece of Christianity or a centerpiece of religion or spiritual growth. That is because it leads to the expansion of the soul. It also reinforces that you're not just the body. And the more that you reinforce that you're not just the body, the more that your awareness expands. So this is also a part of a great life. Could you guys give me a hand, by the way? This is awesome, man. Thank you. Hope you learned a lot up here. Good stuff. Okay, other ideas. Got to be brave after that demo. Why don't you hop up, and then we'll do you next.
All right.
Share some thoughts on a great life.
Great life is being authentic, not letting unproactive emotions and thoughts basically take over your mind, your energy, your soul to the point where you're not even a real human being.
Louder.
And like right now, I am in a battle between anxiousness and my real self.
You actually look great.
Appreciate you. So, yeah, I feel like that's a great life, being authentic, being real, and being in the present moment, which is where you actually are. And not being, I feel like in the present moment is where your ego can be.
You look and sound great, by the way. Let's do that same exercise. Go, Yeah, you got some power. Let's hear a little bit. Don't tighten the throat or you're gonna blow your voice out. Go, He's got some power in there. Could you guys do it with him? Hey. So let it, so as they do it, let your mind come out of the contraction and go into the group, okay? Everybody do it. Go. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
What up?
What up?
What up?
What up?
Hey,
Hey,
I'm the man.
I'm the man.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, I like this. Give me a hand for that. That's good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, you got a great voice. Yeah. So try to grasp that I'm showing you things at a surface level that have a deeper context, and I'm trying to show you, like at a base level, if you want to understand this, there's there's the quality of thinking when you're in the contraction of the mind and the small me, as Eckhart Tolle would call it a lot. And then there's when you get out of your head and you merge out into the environment around you and don't just identify with you, and then the quality of your thinking changes. Have you ever had it where there's maybe somebody that you have an obsessive crush on and you can't stop thinking about them and you think that's love? That's not love. That is fixation, okay? So understand that anytime that you want something so much in the physical, whether that's ego gratification or whatever else, if it is collapsing the space where present to the moment energy or high vibe energy or the Holy Spirit would be coming in, the Tao, De Jing, whatever cult you pick, but it's coming in, then basically if you collapse that and it's too dense, then it actually shrinks you. So they talk about heaven or hell. Heaven or hell starts now. Heaven or hell isn't just a place that you resonate with and are drawn into when you die. Heaven or hell starts now. So my friend that's on the live with 500 people and has all these compliments, but can only lock in on the people insulting this person, that's because they live in the same physical reality, but they live in a different energetic reality. Heaven or hell starts now. So the more that you're trapped in your head, the more that you're in a contracted reality, you lose social skills, you lose discernment, you lose focus, you're easily manipulated, and you live in the modern society that you see today. And what you'll notice is, as you begin to rise above it, two things happen. One is you love people more, but the other is you'll feel very disconnected. You'll feel paradoxically more connected, and yet you'll feel disconnected. And here's what I mean by that. You'll have less in common with people. You'll have so little in common with them that if they insult you, you don't care. Their approval means literally nothing because it's the approval of an automaton, in effect. Their approval means very little. Their beliefs mean very little. Their opinions mean very little because it's coming from a contracted headspace. They're living in a different reality. That said, you love them more than ever. You will tap into like a burning love in your heart that is like a burning star setting that out to them. But you're not going to relate. And the reason why that is because you're in a completely different reality, but you can also recognize that you came from that reality. You recognize that there was energy that helped you out of it. And you also realize that it's a creation of God. It's God's creation. And so that's why in the Bible, Jesus says, forgive them, they don't know what they do. They don't know what they're doing. They've got no clue what they're doing. And a major theme biblically is this idea that even when hung on the cross and tormented, he absorbs that. He's able to absorb it. And because of that, there's a certain weight of, you might call it low vibration energy in the world. And the more, and that energy is trying to amplify off of each other. okay? It's trying to amplify off each other. It's trying to go boing, 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 and build and build and build and build. And so it's trying to use what's called force multipliers. Say the word force multipliers. Right? So the more that it can create reactiveness, react, 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 react. So it's one of these things where when you can actually, Eckhart Tolle talks about it. He says, can I be the space for this? Eckhart Tolle talks about it. Say that word. Can I be the space for this? In other words, you realize there's a lot of pain in the world that's adding to that density. That density is increasing, but good is increasing in parallel. And so you've got to make a decision which side of that equation you want to stand on. And that sound, in theory, like, I want the good side, yeah, like that, right? Okay, cool. You can say that. It's another thing to live it. Hard enough not to get mad when you're cut off in traffic, let alone something that abstract. It's one of these things where you're going to see that you're more disconnected and more connected paradoxically, okay? So in other words, you become someone who is less concerned with what they think of you, less concerned with what they give you. You assume they're probably going to stab you in the back, but it's like a wild animal that's trapped, and you're trying to pull the trap out, but it's going to attack you and bite you while you're pulling the trap out. So, but you're going to love them more, and you're going to understand you're going to have a greater understanding of the weight of that love and the meaning of that love and the importance of that love. So it's going to be seen differently. Now, by the way, love is also another one that you'll be manipulated with. They'll say to you, do you really love your fellow human beings? Then go do X, Y, Z. And they'll manipulate you with that too. So understand that the forces that are manipulating you are sociopathic. Now, when I say they're sociopathic, I need you to understand this. They are pure, raw evil. They will use your goodness against you. They will use your better nature against you. And to a psycho believes that they're right because they have the belief that everybody would do what they would do, but that they're just too afraid to do it. Psychos believe that life is like a chess game, and they believe that people that have ethics are limited in the chess game. So to a psycho, you're like, I want to be a good person, and you look like this idiot. Like you're like because they believe that you're as inherently evil as them, but that they're just more authentic than you because you can't handle that everybody's evil, and so you should also be evil, and therefore they're more authentic. They believe that they're superior because they do something called projection. Projection is where you have a disowned quality, and it hurts you that you have it, so you put it onto other people. Projection is very, very common, and it's this mirror that a lot of people are stuck in, and it's just incredibly, incredibly common, okay? So that kind of energy bounces around, and then you've got to make a decision about where you want to stand in that equation. So what I've talked to you about here is the importance of a couple things. Like I said, let's conclude this idea. We're going to go on the next topic. Social skills, focus, knowing the deal, okay, seeing the bigger picture, knowing the deal, and then also getting back to fundamental core values. What are the core fundamental values that make our society great? And looking back into history of what it was that we did well and how this narcissism and density of the mind has taken us away from that. So that's up to you. How it is that you want to deal with that. It's entirely up to you. I can't make that decision for you, but I'll tell you this. That simple little demonstration that you saw with the voice is, in my view, the key to everything. And what I mean by that is this. It's the key to everything because you saw the added power that he's able to marshal when he gets out of the density. And this basic level density is also messing with your discernment. It's messing with your ability to see reality. You're not able to see reality correctly, I promise you. And I can't unwire that in a short session. So you're not seeing reality correctly, and there's another important part too. You don't have access to your own will. Your own will is being hijacked. Your will is being hijacked. So you don't even know what your opinions are. Think about it this way. We talk about tragedy. You want to know a messed up tragedy that we don't often talk about? So I'm so proud that my grandparents fought in World War II against Hitler. It's a pretty big tragedy that we never talk about? Somebody that was brainwashed by Hitler to fight and die for Hitler. because those people believed they're on the right side. How would you feel if you got brainwashed by some evil psycho to go kill a bunch of people, and then and then to add to that, you also got shot and died? Or maybe you don't even get shot and died, and now you have to live knowing that you did that. How would that be? Because we normally just talk about the good guys and the bad guys. What if you were the unwitting bad guy? What if you're the unwitting bad guy right now, and you don't even know that? So you live this entire life's drama about how you're this good person on your super good dopamine-infusing quest, and so on and so forth, and you've never even dug into what it is that's going on. That's why I tell people, if you're on the left wing of the political aisle, look at the right. If you're on the right wing of the political aisle, look at the left. That's the starting point to knowledge. You understand that the real people at the top of this game don't even think that much in those paradigms. That's called retail level politics, by the way. You're at the retail level. Okay, you're the chode level of politics. Okay, that's chode politics. Right or the left, Bernie or Trump or whatever, right? Chode level politics. Very little idea what's going on. Clueless. Now, retail level. People that get it view that stuff as hysterical. So, anyway, imagine that your life is lived out, not even knowing, not even in control of your own will as an automaton, living in this prison that's been created for you. Basically, you've unwittingly been enslaved. You ever even stop and think about that?
All the time.
You better. But ideas like freedom are so abstract. It's such an abstraction at this point that it's past the average person's menu of concerns. It's just an abstraction. It's not relevant. Frankly, the word freedom has even become a euphemism for bad stuff these days. Well, you want the freedom to do bad stuff. And it's been, there's been a shift in the Overton window with a lot of people on that basic level word. What does the word freedom even mean? And it can mean different things. So, okay, imagine a word like that. And by simply shifting our common understanding of that word, the ability to manipulate. Think about that for a minute. And then the single biggest thing that you get taken away from you is independent access to flow. Independent access to transcendent states. And this is why weed is so popular, which I think weed is terrible. Alcohol is so popular. Psychedelics getting very popular. Why don't you have access to transcendent states independently? I'm not saying you can't do those things, but I'm just saying, you know my opinion though, but why can't you access that on your own? And let's be honest, things like psychedelics or weed is retail level, entry level enlightenment. It's weekend warrior. It's not people that have dedicated their lives to awakening. It's just weekend warrior pattern interruption. Oh, I think that I have to do this job to be a person. And you've never had any present energy infused in your brain, and you've never thought outside the box, and then this thing comes in and whacks you, and you go, whoa, and you wake up. Shoots you outside of your basic level understandings. But what does it mean to spend your life understanding the bigger picture? So this is not the stuff of weekend warriors, and it's not, an amusement ride in the park. You can go do that, go do it. But it's an amusement ride in the park. It's another thing entirely to dedicate yourself to the process of waking up. But understand that if you don't dedicate yourself to that process of waking up, and you're another person, again, contracted social skills, contracted focus, easily manipulated, lack of understanding of core values, what makes us who we are, and so on and so forth. You wind up having your will taken from you. You wind up having discernment taken from you. It's already happening. You're already not seeing the world. You wind up losing independent access to transcendent states. And so you run around your entire life taking this big flurry of action, and like that German soldier that thinks that he's fighting for the Fuhrer, whatever the heck he's fighting for, stop and think that millions of people were doing this, and sold on that sick idea. Well, what does that mean? I mean, that's a horrible example, but ask yourself, a less insane, perhaps smaller, but it's still your life, of whether or not that is happening to you. So this is a process that you have to go through, okay? This is your work, your process. You've got to realize what you're a part of in modern society, the bigger picture that you're a part of, the fishbowl that you're in, the hamster cage that you're in, the water that you're swimming in that you can't tell that you're swimming in, and you've got to start to unravel this. And if you do, that, in my view, is what can lead to an amazing life. So what I want you to do now is I want you to get in your groups, and I want you to talk to each other in detail about your main takeaways for the next 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're going to come back, and we're going to go a lot deeper. Could you guys give yourselves a hand for going through this process as well, for everybody who came up? Awesome.